Willkommen, bienvenue, and welcome back to the modding of Isaac with Lyte. Today, nice, simple music and sound tutorial. No Lua whatsoever, so if you're hoping to trigger a sound in Lua, this is not the video for you. Now, all of you that are left are the ones who want to reskin Isaac with your own sound effects or music. Or both, who knows. And I'm going to walk you through how to replace the current music. There's no adding of the new music just yet. We don't necessarily know how to make additional stages or have alternate soundtracks for the stages that already exist. You can only replace the soundtracks that are there. As for the sound effects, those you can add on top of what already exists, and it'll go back and forth between playing yours and playing theirs. So if that's what you're here to learn, great, let's get cracking. I don't have it necessarily set up in a way that you want to see right away in the game itself. Actually, I do. Let's take a look. So, lorem ipsum, always my little testing area. If we start a new run with anybody, really, Burning Basement, I haven't done. You'll notice the items from my other tutorials. So here we are in the basement. Right now, we're in the intro. The intro is what the intro is, but eventually, it'll switch over into a different piece of music. While that's happening, oh, there it is. Something totally new and peaceful. Now, if we spawn Mom's hand... Oh, geez, that's my scary voice. And then, if we spawn another... It's me again. And another. It's her. And that's what we're going to be doing. Let's get on out of here. And get to actually showing you how it's done. It's actually quite simple. The hardest part is dealing with actual file types, because most people are accustomed to MP3s these days, and neither of the files are of that type. So if you haven't watched the other modding episodes, you desperately need to. This resources area is a godsend and will help you an untold amount with this and any other modding you're going to be doing. So if you haven't watched the first episode where you get all this set up, pause this, go watch that and come back. Good. So here we are. We've got all of our resources here. What we're going to need today are sounds.xml, music.xml, SFX, and music. Over here, we've got our Afterbirth plus mods area, so let's make ourselves a new mod. This one is just going to be sound test. Okay, in sound test, you're going to need a resources folder, which is where you hold all your resources all the time. Inside of that, you're going to need SFX. These are your sound effects. Inside of sound effects, for this particular tutorial, you need Mom. If you're going to work with any other sounds, there are a couple of folders and a couple that are just sitting out in the wind. In this case, we're going to use Mom, but there are plenty of other things. If you want to change the greed sound effects, anything, they're all in here somewhere. Okay. And then we need a new folder for our music. Music also has some folders inside of it for Afterbirth, fights, and jingles, but what we're going to be modifying today is just in the root. So this is the extent of the folders we need. In resources is where we're going to use the various XML files. We need a copy of the sounds. We don't need a copy of music, but we need to reference it. So we're going to want to open up music.xml, and we'll talk about what's actually in here. So every floor and every variant of the floor has its own identification number and four, count them, 4 pieces of music that go with it. So you've got path, which is the default music for the body of the floor. This is what loops. There's an intro that plays before it. So like in the intro that I showed you, there was that introductory portion, and then it went into my piece. Okay. We've also got layer intro and layer just regular, which go on top of the other music. for when things are more exciting or when... And you need variety. You've got the layer that's thrown on top. It might just be an electric guitar riff. Who knows? You do what you want. This is a great place for experimentation. And it tells you what it's used for. Now this, it says womb utero. Those are two different floors, but the music has the same track ID, which is the problem with trying to associate this with stages. There's no file that I've found that says map this track to that other stage. Stages.xml doesn't have that anywhere in it. Nowhere. Nothing tells it. And it's like, oh, but go to this XML. I go to that. It's full of rooms. Doesn't have any music. And this ID number is different because of course it is. So that's why I said we're not going to be adding fresh, new... Oh, I closed the one that I was looking at, didn't I? There it is. I've got a lot of things open right now. Let's close these down. So that's why I said there's no adding purely new music for new stages. I don't know if we can add new stages yet. So all we're going to do is replace one of these .ogg files. If you've never seen .ogg, it's ogg vorbis. It's an open source audio type. In a lot of cases, it's lossless. I don't know what it's like in this particular case, but it's reliable open source, and you can just make it do what you need to do in nice indie games like this. What we're going to replace is this Diptera Sonata basement.ogg, such that our music takes the place of the basement soundtrack. Simple enough, right? For the most part it is, because all we need to do is go into music and save it right here as a .ogg file and spell it correctly. So let's open this up such that we can get how it's spelled. But you can't just take your piece of music, in this case Bercherita, and just change the extension. That doesn't actually make it an OGG file. You actually need to translate it into something else. So we need to open this in something that can actually change it. Now these they're not getting the job done. So what we need is Audacity, or something comparable. Audacity. This is a free piece of software. It does a great job doing super basic tasks. It doesn't look amazing, but it doesn't need to. So all you do is you just grab your file and you drop it into Audacity. Chunk, 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 chunk. And it shows you your audio. If these peaks don't reach to pretty close to the top, you can normalize it and make it have a bit more oomph. You can throw it through a compressor limiter, all sorts of fun things. But for now, this one's ready to go. All we have to do is file, export audio. And then we tell it what to export it as. It might default to WAV or something else, but all you need to do is pick ogg vorbis. And this is my previous attempt, so we're gonna just back it up a little bit. Go into sound test, resources, music, and then we save it with that name we copied just moments ago. Don't need to worry about any sorts of metadata, just hit OK. It chugs along for a bit, transferring it from MP3 format over into OGG. And once it's done, congratulations, you've replaced that bit of soundtrack. You don't have to remove it from here. This resources area doesn't do anything to anybody. By adding it to yours, it has replaced it. Brilliant! Now, the sound effects are even easier. They are just plain old .wav files. All sorts of programs can work with WAVs. Ogg vorbis is a little more odd. So the WAV file, it's very common. If you need to transfer something over to WAV, just toss it into Audacity. But most programs that you would have recorded this in can do it anyway. So where do we put this? Well, that's where the sound.xml kind of comes into play. But more importantly, you can just drop it into your sound effects area. So sound test, resources, sound effects, mom, and then you just drop it in there, named how you like. You can name it anything. It doesn't matter what you call it, because we're going to tell the game where to find it. in this sounds.xml. So what we need to do is find mom. And here, in the mom area, you find this evil laugh. If you don't know which sound you need, there are plenty of other resources, I guess is the right word for it. But if you go into entities.xml, this shows all sorts of information. And if you look up mom here, not mom's razor, not mom's knife, mom herself. Well, these may or may not be the one you're looking for. So we got mom, we got mom's stomp. Eventually you'll find mom's hand. And here we are. This preload here is telling you which sound is associated with this entity, such that it can preload it such that it's ready to go at the time. You might want to even add, well, no, you don't even have to add yours here because it's still ID84. What we're going to do is take this sample and duplicate it. So instead of it being mom evil laugh, it is now mom evil light. .wav. It'll preload both of them and it'll choose randomly which one to play. I believe this wait is for weighting the randomness of which one to pick. Now granted, in this entire file, all of them are weight 1. Literally. Every single one is weight 1. So I'm not going to give you any guarantees it even does anything. I tried to play around with it a little. If it changed the probabilities, it wasn't enough for me to go, ooh, it's totally working. So then all you do is save this file. And you want to have the complete file here. You don't want to start from scratch and just put in this one sample. You want to have the whole kit and caboodle. Such that when you're here, this one has everything. And now we're done. That's the entirety of the mod. If we go back into Isaac, theoretically, okay, so I need to exit out of Isaac and go back into it because I just created the mod and it hasn't initialized it yet. So it just takes a second. It'll be up right about now. Here we are. Just tap right on through. And now we activate sound test, go in for a new game. And if you haven't used the debug console, you just hit the little back tick. It looks like a single quote just kind of tipped over. And whenever I say back tick or backslash, you start at the bottom and you look at which direction it goes. You hear that? Our music worked. So the back tick, if you start at the bottom, it goes back as it goes up. The same is true of the backslash. So what we're going to do now is spawn, but where are we going to spawn? We're going to spawn mom's hand. So if you start typing mom, it'll list the various mom's things. And so we've got all sorts of mom's hands in here, but the one we want is that 213.0. So 213.0, mom's hand. And hit enter to get back out. Okay, so it sounded like her. If you come back in and hit up, the up arrow, it'll go back to the last thing you tried. Okay, so it was her again. And there's me. And so our mod is successful. We have added a sound to an enemy, and we have replaced part of the soundtrack. Now you can go in to your heart's desire and replace, don't mind me, I'm just kind of touching the analog stick to make it move. So you can replace each of the 4 parts. The intro, which is only played once, the main path, which is looped for the entire floor, and then there are the layers that go on top for more exciting moments. And that's all there is to reskinning Isaac with your own music and sounds. You should be able to remove the old ones as well, such that it only uses yours, because we've got it working in the same file. So you should be able to just completely swap it out with the ones that you want. So if you want a complete auditory reskin, it's within your grasp without any Lua necessary. And I will see you in the next episode of the Modding of Isaac with Lyte.